Welcome to the Reinvented Woman podcast with Sharon. I'm Sharon, and this is where healing meets confidence and transformation. If you've ever felt unseen, unheard, or like your past defined you, you're in the right place. This podcast is about breaking cycles, rewriting your story, and stepping boldly into the woman you are always meant to be. So take a breath, lean in, and let's begin this journey together. Welcome to the very first episode of the Reinvented Woman podcast with Sharon. Before I share anything about myself, I want to ask you a question. Have you ever been that woman who's always there for everyone else? The friend, the sister, the strong one? But when it's your turn to need someone, you find yourself sitting alone, crying, suffering in silence. If you're nodding your head right now, I just want you to know I see you because I was you. And if I'm honest, some days I still am. This podcast is for us, for women who've carried so much for so long that sometimes we forget what it actually feels like to be carried ourselves. My turning point was not glamorous at all. It wasn't a single big moment of triumph. Words came through and pierced me. I'll never forget the one time my husband said, after something had happened with a family member, "You're always there for others. But when it's time for someone to show up for you, you're sitting alone, crying, suffering in silence." He didn't say it to hurt me. He said it to me to show me what he saw. And what he saw was a woman who was slowly crumbling behind her smile. Marriage also brought out sides of me I didn't even know existed. You see, I grew up believing relationships were about survival, everybody carrying their load. But my husband came from a home with two parents, with stability, with the vision of family I never knew. And suddenly I found myself comparing, not to him, but to women in his culture. From what I saw, they moved differently. They carried themselves differently. And instead of seeing myself as whole, I felt like I was lacking. That's when the anxiety crept in, the not good enough thoughts, the endless questioning of who I am really. Am I worthy of this? Do I even belong here? My marriage didn't create this pain. It simply held up a mirror to everything that I hadn't healed. Simply put, I was wearing a mask. And then the childhood wounds I thought I'd buried started to rise. Old traumas, old beliefs. That little girl inside of me, the one who learned to be quiet, to carry pain without asking for help, she came roaring. And it felt like I was drowning in memories I couldn't control. And for the first time in a long time, I doubted everything about who I was. That season broke me open. And for a while, I thought I was broken, period. But here's what I learned. Sometimes the breaking isn't the end. Sometimes it's the beginning. Because when everything falls apart, when the mask slips, when the old coping no longer works, that's when you finally get the chance to see yourself clearly. That's what happened to me. And it's what I call the beginning of reinvention. I created this podcast for the women who knows that silence. For the women who play strong by day, but cries when nobody's watching. For the woman who's tired of shrinking, tired of comparing, tired of asking if she's enough. Here's what I want you to know. You're not too late. You're not too old. And more importantly, you're not broken. Reinvention isn't about becoming someone else. It's about remembering who you've always been. And here, week after week, we're going to talk about how to do that. Not from theory, not from perfection, but from lived experience, from messy, real, everyday stories. Sometimes these episodes will be short, like little reminders you can carry with you. Others will be deeper dives into things like healing trauma, reclaiming confidence, and building yourself. Sometimes I'll share stories that still sting a little because I believe there's power in saying things we've been told to keep quiet. This is not about fixing you. You are not broken. This is about giving you the space and the tools to meet yourself again, to walk lighter, to breathe deeper, to finally step into your own reinvention. So if you're listening right now, maybe with tears in your eyes or knot in your chest, I want you to know you don't have to carry this alone anymore. This podcast is your invitation to lay some of that weight down, to be seen, to be reminded that you're not the only one. Follow the podcast so you don't miss an episode. Share it with a sister or a friend, a family member who needs it. And when you're ready to take your own step into reinvention, I'll be right here to walk with you. That's it for today's episode of the Reinvented Woman podcast with Sharon. I'm hoping you're walking away with something to help you heal, grow, and step into the next version of yourself. Make sure to subscribe. And if you found this helpful, leave a review. It helps more women find this space. And remember, you are powerful, you are worthy, and your reinvention starts now. See you in the next episode.